I know you want to meet more women, but swiping on Tinder and Bumble is stacking the odds heavily against you. And despite what most other content out there will tell you, running day game and taking up new hobbies just isn't going to cut it. I'm going to show you how you can not only meet more women, but meet them without the constant fear of rejection. Trust me when I say that struggling to meet women is not a problem you're facing alone. It's probably one of the biggest frustrations of most young men today. Social media has ironically made us all less sociable, and higher rates of young people are now single, and not necessarily by choice. And the last resort is dating apps. With men almost 3 times as likely to swipe right than women, you're left with a brutally competitive dating pool that leaves most men at the bottom trying to catch some crumbs.
What are you doing here? What do you mean? I'm here for the scraps.
If you're brave, you might consider approaching women in the street, or day game as they call it, where you'll have to pluck up the courage to approach a random stranger with incredibly high chances of rejection. A depressing reality. So what should you do instead? You need to build a social circle. Now hear me out. You're probably thinking, well, I have some friends now and I don't meet any women. Well, this type of social circle is about quantity over quality. You don't need to build lifelong friendships with these people, although you may choose to along the way. You just need to become worthy of an invite to a social event, merely a social option. But before we get into the how-tos, I'm going to tell you why this method works. So you see those average looking guys on the street with a 10 out of 10 girlfriend? This is probably how he met her. So imagine the success you can have as someone who works on themselves to become far, far greater than average. But let's not forget, women have the abundance of dating options. The most attractive women will never need to consider using dating apps. Dating comes easily to her. So when she already has more than enough dating options, why would she need to consider some random guy approaching her in the street or in a club? She knows nothing about you and doesn't care. And this is the first strength of meeting women through your social circle. By meeting her through a mutual friend, you are already verified as an interesting person. To her, you are now worth getting to know. Think about it. When you approach her as a stranger, she needs to take the time to vet you to ensure you're not a crazy person, before she can even decide if she likes you or not. For women, meeting men through their social circle is a dating shortcut. It weeds out all the type of guys that she doesn't want to waste time on, and it gives you an in to allow you to display your incredible personality, in the process immediately jumping the hurdle that most men fall at. However, if they don't fall at the first hurdle, the second one will usually get them. Now let's imagine you've met a woman at a club, you've managed to get past that vetting process, and you've got her number. What happens next? Well, in most circumstances, despite what you think, having left the club, excited about the success you've had in securing her number, it's just too difficult to build a strong connection in the space of an hour or two when she's probably consumed too much alcohol. And she wakes up the next day feeling unsure of whether she really liked you or she just drank too much. And with every day that passes without building on that connection, you become more and more of a stranger to her. The texts start to dry up and you reluctantly accept it wasn't to be. Sound familiar? We've all been there. Thankfully, this is where the social circle method excels again. Not only do you get to skip that vetting process step and get to spend more time building your connection, but even if you don't manage to build a strong enough connection the first time you meet her, you can use your social circle to ensure you meet her again soon and continue building on it. Another thing to remember is women don't become attracted in the same way we do. Our attraction is almost instantaneous and grows very little over the course of time. Women's attraction grows much more slowly. Therefore, having the opportunity to display your personality over a longer time frame stacks the odds back in your favour. I mentioned earlier how meeting women through your social circle will allow you to do so without the fear of rejection. And there will come a time where you have to make a move, and unfortunately 100% chance of success doesn't exist. The odds of you being rejected through this method compared to anything else are so incredibly low, as most moves you make, whether that's starting a conversation or asking for her phone number, all could be perceived as just a friendly request. By this point, I hope you're convinced that this is the way forward for you to meet women, but understanding that is the easy part. How do you actually grow your social circle so it benefits you this way? Your social circle will build like the snowball effect. It will take some work to grow in the beginning, but but as it grows, it will grow and grow with less and less effort. Eventually, your calendar will be stacked with social events, and it'll be down to you to choose which ones to go to. Initially though, you need to put the work in by connecting with the people you're already friends with and the people they're already friends with. You need to become the organizer, the person who makes the plans. You need to plan activities that are interesting to a wider range of people. Scheduling a Friday night COD session with the boys probably isn't going to make you many friends, and you're definitely not going to meet many women. As to what activities to plan will depend on your age, the things you're interested in, and where you live, so I'm not going to do the thinking for you. But put some thought into the activity to ensure the type of people you want to meet would be interested in the activity you plan. You then invite your friends and make a point to encourage them to bring other people along. This is where you build connections. Make a point to talk to any mutual friends that come along. Add them on social media or get their phone number and make sure to introduce them to anyone else they don't know. What next? Rinse and repeat. But at the next event you plan, you invite along the new connections you've just made and encourage them to bring along some friends. The best part? The reciprocity principle says that we pay back in social situations what we have received from others. So you just invited these new people to a social event and introduce them to people they don't know, and that is a debt they will feel obligated to repay. And this is where your social circle will begin to snowball. Not only are you going to be meeting people at the events you plan, but you're about to get a whole host of social invitations. So at this point you might be wondering, where does meeting women come into all of this? Quite simply, 51% of the population is female. So as long as you aren't planning mud wrestling activities, then you're going to meet women, and a lot of them. To sum this all up, growing your social circle won't just improve your dating life. It will make your life more fun and fulfilled in general. It will build you a reputation as a high value, interesting man, all without having to spend your nights swiping on Tinder, competing for women that don't even deserve your attention. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.